like it's like you could probably do a 3-hour podcast talking about that one question alone if you.
I'm thinking you're like that. Oh God, how's it? I really don't know, mate. I think it's made me be the person that I am.
Totally.
I'm kind of known
man.
locally. Oh, that's the guy that sings. He sings in a band because I've always kind of done it. So it kind of gave me an identity, definitely.
I would say that's for sure done the same for me, mate. Like I didn't really know who I was or why I was on this planet really until I really understood that I was here to make music. Do you know what I mean? And for me, it came with like I had to see that you could make a living playing music, and then see the first time I done that, the first week I spent busking in Australia and making good money, I was like, it all makes perfect sense now. I completely understand how people have become musicians, all the different levels of musicianship. Do you know, you can be a grassroots musician, you can be a cover band playing to 15,000, you could be a Justin Bieber type, do you know what I mean, playing to millions around the world, do you know what I mean? But the joy, I think, once I realised that that's who I was able to find the joy in all the stages and for all the people, do you know? So and I felt immediately as like part of the musicians club, if that makes sense to what you were saying, do you know, like so I mean it certainly helped me with my identity as well. I mean I would say like, so I think if you're like a dancing performer frontman, right, that's one type of frontman as well, and I'm sure you're getting something out of that exuberance for life, that passion that you've got to show as a lead singer. Do you know what I mean? Like,
I completely get what you're saying, but I don't think it's something. I mean, even when I was watching Johnny last night doing his Morrissey, it's just so natural to him. It really was, and it's like playing a part. It is,
I suppose
I've done a bit of amateur dramatics. If you remember, did you ever see or were you at the Godspell that I done?
No, I never knew that. I
think your mum had went.
Where did you go?
Again, it was in the Dennis Civic, and it was like, I think that's 250 people.
Right,
and you're doing this play, and that was terrifying. I think that was when I was about 26. But I think it was a really good experience, and being able to act on stage a wee bit as well.
Aye.
And you're not trying to be somebody, you're using wee bits of influences of avid that you like.
Aye.
But now I've kind of had to revert back to, no, this is what he's like. You need to be like him.
A bit more of a singular approach.
So it is just kind of like playing the part a wee bit.
Totally, man. Like that makes a lot of sense. Like I feel like I was always like super para. I've always loved like blues and soul music. So it's really easy to sink your teeth into like a soul song and like put your passion into it and be like confident doing it. But for me, like I wasn't like that in front of people for years, you know what I mean? Like it was music specifically that helped me come out of my shell.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So like it's helped me come out of my shell, it's helped me like find my identity, it's helped me find kind of my place in the world. Do you know what I mean? So that's why I think it's an interesting question, and I'm sure it's done a lot of these things for you. It's just sometimes we don't verbalise it or we've no thought about it. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, definitely. I mean, you're saying confidence. I think everybody that you meet, most people, you do get shy people in bands, but to do that or want to do that, there's got to be a wee bit of something, extrovert in you.
I know, but this is the debate that I've struggled with for years, mate. Like to some people, I seem dead like out for what's the expression I'm looking for? Like very outgoing, like very outgoing and very like brazen and kind of stuff. But actually, I'm not like that at all. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I know that you have to be like that. Number one, if you're not enjoying the music you're playing, the audience aren't going to enjoy. So if you're not enjoying what you're doing, they're not going to enjoy it. Or if you're nervous about what you're doing, they're going to pick up on that. Do you know? But I think eventually I was able to see it, like you're saying. Like I realised it's a character.
Yeah.
And it's like being able to tap into that character is cathartic to me in some ways, I think. Like when I've struggled with like mental health problems, do you know what I mean? And it's I don't know, it's just funny, like you know John Martin? Like he done it was a wee video just before he died. There was this video and it was like Phil Cunningham Scottish musician. I can't remember what band he was in now, but it was like 70s, 80s kind of guy. Actually annoying me. I can't remember what band he was in now. And he done this wee documentary with John Martin on YouTube, and it's split. John Martin obviously had problems with alcoholism and drug abuse and domestic violence and stuff like that. Like, he had a troubled journey as well. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And there's this bit when he's explaining. He's like singing the blues down the microphone. It's just good for the soul and that. And then it cuts to him and he's like sobbing. He's like, "I believe it," and he's like crying and sobbing and singing, and it's just fucking like electric. Like, it's just so much feeling in what you're watching. It's amazing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think after I seen that, I realised, all right, so there's something. I know obviously not everybody falls into this bracket, but a lot of people do. And like the kind of tortured creatives, like you're unhappy on the inside, and so it spurs you on to create good music and good art. Do you know what I mean? But I know it was, for me, that was another aspect of like how music had helped. But it's a very layered question. Do you know what I mean? And I think it's got but there's a point to it as well, because I think that when you think about it, you become more grateful. Do you know what I mean? Like I've got so much gratitude for like finding music. Thank God I found music, because if I didn't find that, who knows where I would be? Do you know what I mean?
It's, you know, for us it's so important, but I think if you didn't have it, and you know, there's a guy that I used to work with, and he'd been talking about music, and he's like, I just don't ever listen to music. I've never listened to music.
I don't like music.
And I'm like, what's wrong with you? And it's completely wrong for
it's
me
like
to
when
think
people
that.
say I don't like dogs.
Aye.
I don't like dogs, or I don't like cats. I'm like, what? You don't. I know it's a weird one, and I think it's just for that person. There's no relevance. Like, they're not connecting the idea that there will be a song that will remind them of when their mum was alive 20 years ago, but they'll just not be thinking about these are that's what you're talking about when you're asking, do you like music?
Never bought an album, you know. You're like, what? I'm sorry, what? And you do judge people. You're like, what's wrong with you? But again, it's just, as you say, if you find it as a total love, and I think once you're playing it and you become that kind of level, as you say, like a musician, whether it be singing or whether it be playing, it just becomes, you know, part of your life. Yeah,
but yeah, no, that's it. There's many things that you can take from it, but it's a great thing. So I like to ask people this question as well, right?